Okay, so we'll open up where we were last time. So we were, see if we can find it. CCH. Okay. So I had mine fairly finished. I'll just take a quick look around to see where everybody's at. And then we'll pose it and finish it off. Take some pictures. So I'll just take a look. We're missing one. I know one's out. Oh yeah, you have to just move it up one by so far to down actually. Yeah, these computers are going to change out tomorrow, so don't need any work on them. They're going to put whatever you need on them. Like Testing, testing. Okay, so yeah, so I've changed my body shape just slightly, and I'm maybe have to move my legs now in to fit. No, they look okay on the side there. They're still close enough to it in the top view. This is in a wireframe mode, which is 4 on my keyboard. If I switch between, if I toggle between 4 and 5, that's wireframe on and off. So that's just why it looks a bit different. So I'm just going to pull that arm in a little bit. That one looks okay. Okay, so once I'm happy enough with my body shape, I'm going to pull it up a little bit there on the side. So I could now select, the upper arm, shift select the body, P for parent. The upper leg, shift select the body, P for parent. Upper leg, shift select the body, P for parent. Upper arm, shift select the body, P for parent. So I probably should have changed the body shape first. I just had started parenting. So now I can pose this a bit better. So I can put the arm down, I can rotate it, I can rotate the lower arm. This is what we were trying to achieve. If I move that forward like that, that's kind of can mic keeps going out. I'll keep an eye on it. So. Yeah, so I've put this in and I've raised it up so it's kind of underneath his feet there. So it looks like he's on the, you know, standing on the ground. So I'll give you a few minutes to get that. I'll have a look around. You get it parenting the arms and stuff? So once we get it posed into a nice pose, you know, the reason we're doing it is we can take a nice image then. Well, not the only reason. Save this. So to create a nice render of this, I'm going to use the Arnold renderer. And in order to use the Arnold renderer, we have to put a light in. So if I go up here, up on the top of my top menus there, beside workspace, there's two little black arrows, Arnold lights. I'm just going to put in a sky dome light. Click on sky dome light and you'll just see a big sphere kind of lands in your screen. So then if I click on the little render button here, this one, the little clapperboard with the eye, click on that. The default render should be Arnold, which is coming in there. If I maximize this, so I'm using Arnold renderer, that's fine. There's other ones in there. Just so you can see the difference. So this is my software if I rendered with that. This is my hardware if I rendered with that. And then this is Arnold, if I render with that. So it should take a bit longer, but it gives us a nice look. So see, when I put the ground plane in, it's kind of even casting a bit of shadow where the foot hits the ground. I could increase the size of that, I think would look a bit better, just to fill in the gap there, and render it again. So the render is like, you know, taking a nice final picture of your scene. So I could take an overall one, and then I could move it and take another one. So they're taking individual images. It doesn't go anywhere other than here on screen unless I tell it to. So I can, if I wanted to save this image now, I have to go up to File, Save Image, and go to the settings. Actually, no, just go to Save Image, don't go to the settings. It'll automatically open up some settings. So it's coming up here saying you want to save image, where do you want to save it to? I'm just going to put it into Documents. I'm going to give it a name. Make sure you're adding your name just because we're using the desktop here. So Denise, ice cream. I'm going to say 1D just so I know. And the file type, make sure it's a JPEG. And over here, save mode. The default is raw image, so make sure it's on color managed, otherwise it comes out very dark, and hit save. So now I've saved a JPEG of this. So if I go to my file explorer, documents, there he is, where is he? Nice ice cream man, there, 1D. So if I double click on it, it'll open up just, you know, the usual pictures. So I could bring that into Photoshop. It's now just a JPEG that I can do what I want with. What you guys want to do is we want to go to our Teams. Remember your notebook. I'll just go back into Teams, CCH1, General, Class Notebook. The little arrow beside it. And then you all have your own notebook in there, so your name is appearing there somewhere. My one is, well, if I go to teacher only, so add on your notebook, you can add a section here. You may have already added it called 3D. And you can add a page in there if you don't already have Ice Cream Man. So this is what we're on week 4, I think we're on week 3. Week 3. And in here, insert, file, file attachment, choose file, documents, and find the right one. It's there. Screen Man 1D. Open. Insert. Oh, why it's not showing up there? It should be showing up. What? I don't know why it's jumped there. Okay, I'm going to try that again because Insert. Well, actually, sorry, I said file, insert picture from file. That's what was wrong. Choose file, Ice Cream Man 1D. So this is my JPEG. So it's a JPEG I'm putting in here. Open, insert. There he is. So if I want to, I'll go through that again to insert the lights. So I can take another image of it, you know, maybe a bit closer up. So out here to add a light for Arnold to work, you'd have to have a light, otherwise you'll just get a black screen. Click on the little arrows beside workspace, Arnold, lights, sky dome light. Click on the little clapper board there with the eye on it. It's automatically going to Arnold renderer, and click on the first clapper board to actually render. Yeah. Okay, if that's not showing up, yeah, I'll show you another way then to get that. Yeah, if the arrows aren't showing up here, and there's not, is there an Arnold tab up on top? No?
Yeah.
Try that. Insert them into your class notebook on a 3D tab, you know, a section in the notebook. So I'll go through that again now. Yeah, so there should be, if you don't have the black arrows, those little arrows there should be an Arnold tab up on top. If there's not, you can go to over here where it says modeling, rendering, and there's Arnold lights, sky dome light. So there's a few ways of getting the same thing. So sky dome light, just put it in there. Then hit the render, the first one, open render view. Click on the first one to actually render. It'll take it a few minutes. You kind of have to wait until all this blue is filled in. It's having a bit of a moment. Okay. We'll see if it's done. So then I say file, save image, just click on save image. I'm just going to call this 1D2. Make sure it's a JPEG and make sure it's color managed and give it a name. So your name, Ice Cream Man, save. It's going into documents. Just make sure where it's going. It's not going some strange place, and save. And then open your Teams, and on the General tab, Class Notebook, click on the arrow. So you have your own notebook here. I think I have a test one, so I can show you. There's my test student. So I should have if I don't have it, add a tab there, 3D Maya. So I think if you just add section, it should just put it in there. If you don't already have one. Oh, I put it in the wrong place. I don't know. I don't think it'll allow me to do it because I'm not logged in as a test student. You know what I mean? Oh, I might have it. So there's my 3D Maya. So I would call this maybe, yeah, if you don't have it, a section in here, Ice Cream Man, just make another one. The title will come in from when you type it in here, you know what I mean? Mm. free ice cream. And then in there, insert picture from file, choose file, and find where you'd saved the JPEG. You don't need to save or do anything in here. This is cloud, so it'll automatically save in. I have access to your notebooks. All teachers have access to your notebooks. So that's why it's good to divvy them up into sections. I'm going to. So I could check here. Yeah, so Jamie has a 3D Maya. Good. So yeah, you've already put your spiders in there, so that's good. And you're putting that in. Good, yeah, Elliot has all his in there. Robert. So this is where you can still add a 3D section, you know, and put these into it if you want it. It's okay if you don't have. I'll find them. And Sean. Good. Yep. Okay. So I'll give you a few minutes to finish that up. This is kind of an unfinished render. When you see those blue squares there, I'd really have to kind of start that again. I don't know what happened. Let's click on it again. So a render is like a more final, you know, a nice final image. We were doing screen grabs, I think, at the spider last time. This is really taking a moment. Okay, so I'll take a 10-minute break and give you a few minutes. and then we'll start the next thing after. So I'm just going to pause this recording. Okay, we all got our rendering done. So we'll save that and we're done with that then. So remember to put your final one, put it up onto your OneDrive. So maybe do that now before we forget. Where is mine? So, open up your email, then go to the dots up the top to find your OneDrive. And you probably have divvied it into, made a new folder for 3D. There's my one there. Ice cream man. So I'm going to find where I've saved it to then on documents. So it's the Maya file that I'm looking for. The CCH1D. So these are the ones I did today. I can see by the date. I'm assuming I've already put these ones on. If not, just grab them all and just drag it out here. I probably should divvy this up into your groups, but there's my 2 new ones on there. So I know that's now on my OneDrive and I can know where it is. Okay, so we're going to go on and we start the ice cream truck. So this is more poly modeling. So we've just been using kind of, shapes and stuff. We did a little bit of the sub object, getting into the faces and polygons and edges. So we're going to be using that method now for the next part. Let me see. So I'm going to say File, New Scene. This time we want to set up an actual project. We've just been creating Maya files. We haven't been making projects. Projects are a structure that Maya uses to put its files and bits and pieces in the right place when you're working on a project. So we'll go through the process here. Actually, yeah, we'll do. I need to give you some image files, so I'm just debating which we do first. We'll maybe, the image files are on the teams again. So we go to our teams and under general, I think, have I put them on files there? Maya. Yeah, where did I put them? On your own channel, actually. No. Okay, there. So I'm just going to put them onto your channel then. Give me 1 second. Okay, so they're in there. On your channel, CCH1D files. So these are the 3 files that you want. So I would, to download them, just click on the first one and go to the 3 dots and download. So download them one at a time, because if you download them all together, it will zip them. But if you download them one at a time, it'll just download it. So it doesn't really matter. But so download one, click on it and download, and then deselect that one, go to the next one and download, and it'll go into your downloads folder. I'm just going to put them in the D as well, so I know where they are. So once they're downloaded, that's fine. You have them in your downloads folder. I'm going to go back to Maya then. So what we want to, yeah, so before we get started on anything, we want to set up the project. So did everyone download those files? You okay? Okay. So you downloaded them, then we go File, Project Window. And up at the top there, there's an option for New. So click on New. Give it your name. So I'm going to call _ice. I always use that underscore when I'm breaking up a word there, and that's purposely because if you use dots or gaps or anything, it can mess up. So always use an underscore if you're breaking up words in file naming or project naming. So location, so just look at where it's going. I think I'll just change that to documents. Select. So you can click on the little folder there, documents, select. So it's going to make a project in this location. All of these are the subfolders it'll automatically put in, and we just say accept. So nothing actually happens. Then we go File, Set Project. So we make our project and then we set our project. So set project. So there it is there. There's my one, Denise Ice Cream Truck, CCH1D. Don't double click on it, just highlight it and set. We now want to move the images that we just downloaded into the source images folder of that file. So go to your downloads, find your image files that you just downloaded. So there's mine. Back and side. There, did I give you 3? I gave you 3, so I think I gave you this one. So to select multiple, hold down Control, back and side. So the back and the side are the 2 that you really want. But select the 3 of them and then find where you made your new project. So mine's documents, Ice Cream Truck, CCH1D, source images, and put them in there. So we're putting them in the source images folder of the project that we made. So source images is where you always put your textures or any image files that you're using in your scene. That's where it looks for them. So I put my downloaded images into the source images folder of my ice cream truck project. If I look at my project, they're all the different subfolders. So source images holds the images, and scenes, that's where all your Maya files are going to end up. The other ones, you probably really won't use much of them for now. So it's source images and scenes are the two important subfolders. So now back in Maya then, so we want to import those images and use them as a guide to create our truck. So I'm going to go to the side viewport here, maximize, go view, image plane, import image. And because I've made my project, set my project, it'll now look directly into that source images folder. So I should see it here. So there it is there, side, open. And it'll appear in. Then go to the front view, maximize that one, view, image plane, import image, and this one is going to be the back. Back isn't really very useful because it's a bit skewed. So in my perspective view, it looks like this. So I want to kind of move them a little bit apart. So I'm going to select the side one. So these are image planes. So they're like an object. You know, if I look at my outliner, there they are, image plane 1, image plane 2. So I'm going to select the side one in here. And I'm just going to move it over a little bit. So I'm just going to push it over to the side of the other one. And I'm going to select the back one and push that one back. So they end up like that. So, and again, because they're two objects, I'm going to select them and I'm going to put them on their own layer. So select the two objects, either one at a time or just put a window around them. And over here in my channel box, see it's called channel box / layer editor. So down underneath here, then these are where I can put my layers. That very last button there, so the last one with the blue circle on it, if I click on that, I'll create a new layer and assign selected object. So I have my object selected, click on that, and it'll make a new layer. I'm going to double click on it to name it and call it background. Background images, and save. And I know they've landed on that layer. If I click on this V for Vincent there at the beginning, that's visible, visible and invisible when I click that on and off. So if I click on the V and it disappears, I know it's on that layer. So I want it to be visible. If it didn't land on the layer, you made the layer, but the objects aren't disappearing, just select them again, right click on that name, background images, and add selected objects. So that'll add the objects to the layer if they didn't automatically. So that's visible, invisible, and the very last one there we have, if we keep clicking it, we get a T for template, reference, and nothing. So we want to make it reference. So we want that to say P or R reference. So what reference means is that I can see these objects on the layer, but I can't pick them up. They're just referencing. So if I try and select them, I can't. I can just turn that off to actually select them. But that just makes it useful for them being, a guide. So as I'm modeling in front of it, I won't be picking them up. So I'm turning that to R. Okay, so we'll just start with a cube. In our side view. So what we're building there is, just to show you the image. So this was the drawing, and I brought it into Photoshop then to try and, you know, make a side and a back view of it. So the side came out all right, the back came a bit skewy. But this was the original drawing. This is done by Chantel, a student 2 years ago, I think. She's in the degree now. Anyway, so that was her design. So I've kind of sliced it up then to make it work for us. So in my side view then, I'm just going to create polygon primitives, cube, and click and drag a cube to kind of fill the body of the truck and give it a bit of depth. I'll give you some sizes just to start us all on the same. So it's a, so if I just create a cube any size, come over here then to my channel box, inputs, polycube there. So width, I'm going to make 12, height 9, and depth 12. And I want to add some subdivisions. So just, I'm going to do 4, 4, and 4. So it comes out something like this. So we're kind of going to look at kind of doing, you know, we think of the front of the truck or the cab as separate at the moment. So we're just kind of working on the, like from there down. So in order for me to see through to my image too, I want to make this see-through. So I'm going to go shading, X-ray. So now I can see my model, but I can also see the image behind. The grid that's appearing, you know, can be useful or unuseful depending on, I'm going to turn it off just for you guys, you can decide yourselves. So under show grid, so that turns off the overall grid. Yep, so it's 12, 9, 12 width, height 9, depth 12, and then 4, 4, and 4 subdivisions. So again, in my perspective view, it looks like this. I can push it over a little bit. Yeah, so we just want to start shaping it out then a little bit to match the image behind. So I'm going to right click, get to vertex, and then using, make sure you select with a window to select the vertex, for instance, there on top. And I'm going to select a window and kind of just pull them up to match the shape of the truck. Pull that one over. So I'm looking at the sideline, you know, as best we can. If I don't select it with a window, like if I just clicked on a vertex, for instance, here, and then pulled it down, and here, and pulled it down, see what will happen in my perspective. I'm only pulling the vertices there on the outside, and it leaves all the ones on behind it where they were originally. So that can kind of skew up your mesh quite easily. So just be careful when you're doing it this way, like a symmetrical shape, that you want to just do the overall shaping on it, put a window around your vertex so it'll get all the vertices in that row behind it. So click and drag. The wheel, yeah, we'll just ignore it for now. Not a whole lot we can really do. We just want to kind of, we're keeping it quite symmetrical too, so we want to keep our lines horizontal and vertical in our loops. So I'm just going to pull that down a bit to kind of match the side of the, or the edge of the truck there. Yeah, so select whatever view you're in. So this determines the view. So go to shading and X-ray. So we can see the other views are still solid. and you can x-ray them as you need them. So I've just pushed and pulled those vertices into matching roughly the outer shape of the truck. Not a lot of detail that we can add there yet. So we obviously need to add a few more edge loops in order to be able to shape a bit better. So I'll do that now. So when I'm in Vertex, I'm in a sub-object mode. So I want to right click to go back to object mode, or F8 is the keyboard shortcut. So if I look at my outliner, I just have this P cube. So I could call that truck, just so I know. So yeah, we're trying to make this kind of all out of the one cube. Not everything now. We will have a few probably extremities like the wheels and the awning, but we're going to shape it out of the one mesh basically. That's our goal. Okay, so we need to insert some edge loops here. So I'm going up to on top here. Now I have switched this. Just make sure you're in modeling. That this is at modeling. And then I'm going up to mesh tools on the pull down menu and insert edge loop. So inserting edge loop, I'm going to click where I want to insert. So I'm going to put one up here. And then I'm going to, I think of, well, put another one maybe down here. And then I'm going to do some vertical. So one kind of there, roughly where the window is. And then over here where the window ends. So I kind of put one on top there where the window goes across, where the window at the side, the other side, and I just put another one down the end there just to give us more to work with. I'll highlight them again. So it was this one, and that one. I can do that again. I'm undoing, so under mesh tools, insert edge loop. So I get a little arrow like this, little white arrow, and wherever I click on an edge loop should appear. So one there. So at the top of the awning, at the side of the awning, or the side of the window, and the other side of the window. And I just put another one kind of down the bottom there, midway between the two. To come out of the insert edge loop, because if you keep clicking, it'll keep inserting edge loops. So I need to hit my white arrow up here, or Q, the keyboard shortcut. When I look at it in perspective, so see these edge loops now that I put in, these have gone all the way around my shape. So these are the 4 edge loops I put in. I'm just going to turn off my layer so you can see. So you can see that they've looped vertically and horizontally all the way around. So that's the beauty of inserting edge loops. They'll loop all the way around your shape. And they'll do that when your shape is nice and clean. If there's anything wrong with your mesh, loops won't loop. So we can maybe tighten it up a little bit more. Do I have, not really much more I can do with that on the shape that way. So what I want to look at is using, you know, these are the faces that I'm kind of looking at to create the window. It's probably not a bad idea to do even a save right now. So file save scene as, and you'll see it should jump directly into now the scenes folder of our project. So I'm going to call mine these one. I'll just make sure I have 1D on it. So I'm selecting these viewport or faces here where roughly where the window is on the truck. And I'm going to try and make a bit of a window frame out of these and indentation to give me a window representation. So I'm selecting 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to see that edge, this one here, going straight through. I'm going to move that one over a bit. So to select an edge loop, you double click on it. So don't just select one, double click on it and select the loop all the way around. And I'm going to move it over a bit. So using my move tool, just move it kind of more central. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to selecting the faces. So if you're in object mode, just right click and face. And using your arrow tool, holding down shift, select those 6 faces. I'm going to turn my view off, or my background image off so you can see it. So this time I'm going to actually extrude faces. So I'm going to go up to edit mesh, or edit mesh and extrude. So edit mesh, extrude, click on it. I'm going to actually do this in my perspective view so you can see it. So I'm in the middle of extruding here, and these arrows are going to allow me to extrude. So I'm pushing my mesh inside, indicating a window. So I'm going to kind of push it in just once about there first to just give me a bit of a frame indication. And then I'm going to do it again, edit mesh, extrude, and push it in further. Actually, maybe not that far, right there. Actually, I'm going to undo that. I'm going to do it a different way. Just undo back to here. So Control Z. How did I do that? I'm going to go extrude out a bit because I want to give it a bit of a frame, as I said. So I'm going to do the window frame first. So I'm extruding out. So this is, I still have those 6 faces. I hit edit mesh and extrude, and using the arrow, pull it out. Then edit mesh, extrude, and this time I'm going to use my scale tool. And I'm going to scale down a bit. And this time I'm going to extrude again. So edit mesh, extrude, push in. And then edit mesh, extrude and push in again. You see what I did? Created a bit of a frame around it. I'll do that again. So I have my 6 faces selected. Edit mesh, extrude, which I've already selected, and extrude, pull it along that arrow, the X arrow outward. So you're kind of creating, pulling it out. Yep. That's good. Huh? Oh, that's not good. Okay. Just before we go any further, we could check that in our Windows. I'll take a look at yours now specifically, but just under Windows settings and preferences, scroll all the way down there till you see undo. So make sure it's on, which might be a bit late for yours, and that it's at infinite, and save. Now the only thing is you probably won't be able to undo that. I'll just finish this and then I'll fix yours thing. Okay, so that was a good reminder to make sure our undo is working. So I've extruded this outward a little bit. I'm selecting the same 6 faces again, edit mesh, extrude. This time I'm going to use my scale tool, scale down a bit, and then do it again, edit mesh, extrude, and this time push in a bit. So I'm kind of finishing off the frame there, and then edit mesh, extrude, and push in a bit further. So this is kind of like the window ledge almost, and it ends up like that. So I'm going to save my one. Okay, so if you want to share yours with me, I'll see, can I fix, yeah. I'll request remote control. Okay. First of all, I'm just going to move these out of your way. I'm Just going to get rid of them and I'll put them back in then. So similar to what we were doing with the with the faces, I can do that with edges. So if I say edit mesh, extrude, I'm going to extrude out a bit. And then edit mesh, extrude, and use my scale and scale in a bit. And edit mesh, extrude, and go in a bit. And then edit mesh. Control E is the extrude shortcut. If you're wondering. And go in a bit. So we are actually going to delete them, so that's fine. We were going to delete them now anyway. So I'll give that back to you. You can stop sharing. Going inward.
Yeah. So you pull the face over there.
Yeah, I really just scaled here. So if I was scaling again, I'll select say, these faces. Edit mesh, extrude. Yeah, so using my scale tool, this one. Yeah. And then just make sure I click in the center part of that. Yeah. And scale it in. And then if I want to go inward again, so that's just scaling the face down. So then I have to extrude again to move it in a different direction. So I'd have to extrude again, and then this time just move it. So I'm moving the scale down face, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so I'm going to actually delete that these faces there that I had created. So I have a bit of an opening now, Michael. If I type 3 on my keyboard, this is my smooth view. So I can kind of start seeing how it's looking. Does it match my drawing? Not really yet. So sorry, 1 and 3, smooth and unsmooth. And I can change the visibility of that. So we can have a window shape at least. Did everyone get that? So I'm going to look at my perspective view now. We want to kind of maybe build the cab shape onto it as well. So I'm going to select faces. I'll select these faces in front. So to select multiple faces, if I select the first face and say I want to get this row, select that first face, holding down Shift and double click on it. And it selects the faces in between. So the first one and double click the last one. So I've selected them all except the top row. And again, I'm going to go up to Edit Mesh and Extrude. And I'm just going to pull out this. So that's kind of the, if I turn on my drawing there, I'm going to pull it out a bit more. So I'm kind of going for the, you know, the edge of the window there roughly. And we can still push and pull our edges and stuff around. So I'm going to deselect those faces then, and now select the bottom 3 rows, these ones, this and this. And edit mesh, extrude, and just pulling along the arm, extrude out to the end. Kind of keeping an eye on my drawing here. So it looks like that. I can resize these windows a bit if I wanted. Necessary. I'm leaving that up there so you guys can see it. In my side view then, again going into vertex, I can start to shape this a bit better. So maybe pull that up a bit. Pull that up a bit, push it in. So I'm drawing a window around those vertices so I know it's catching them all. I'm focusing kind of on the outer shape, don't worry about the bumper area. So in perspective, it looks kind of like that. It's a bit crooked there, so I'm just straightening. This out a bit. I don't really have enough to work with to get the wheel shape. I'm just trying to, yeah, I'll leave that for a minute. So yeah, the next area I'd look at there then will be this little side window. Maybe that could be a detail I work on. I'm going to move this edge loop. See this edge loop here? I'm going to double click on it and pull it up a bit just so it's, my goal is to kind of keep my faces of a similar size, you know, so I don't want really tiny faces as best I can, and then really big ones. So I double clicked on that and pulled it upward a bit. So I'm toggling between edges and vertices. Pull that up a bit there. Okay. So how do I make this shape then, the little triangular window? I could probably do with inserting another edge loop, just because I'm going to need it probably for the roundy shape down here. So I'm going to go mesh tool, insert edge loop, and put another one just there in between the two. So now and then hit my arrow to come out of it or Q. I'm now going to select these 4 faces here. And I'm going to start making a window shape. So again, mesh tools or edit mesh, extrude. And I'm going to use my scale again. So scale tool. I'll just maximize this so we can see. Scale down. Now I can scale in a bit there. Or I can always fix it afterwards too. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't come out the right shape. Then edit mesh, extrude again. And this time push in. I'm actually just going to push in close to the edge and then do it again. And push in again. So by leaving an edge there, it actually holds the shape better when it smooths. So if I do a 3 on this, see the way it's holding that shape a bit better. Yeah. Oh yeah, I want to check it because I was kind of doing that blindly. I wasn't really looking at my drawing. So I can see in my drawing now I'm a little off. So I'm going to go back to my vertex. Pull these down a bit. Pull them over a bit. So I'm matching the drawing now as well as best I can. And because it's a stylized, you know, it's not very it's not all straight lines. So drawing a window around my vertices as I'm selecting them. See that there too while I'm at it. Okay. So it's looking more like this now. So I'm going to, yeah, probably a good idea to do a save again, do a save every so often. So file save scene as, and I'm on truck 2, I'll make this truck 3. You just keep adding a number to the end of your file name there. Because if Maya crashes or goes belly up, you at least have something to go back to. We can start shaping maybe out the wheel area now. Do we have anything to work with? We could possibly add well, this one we have a bit more to work with now. So I'm going to go to vertex and I can pull these 2 up a bit. I'm going to pull all 4 of them up. So just and these back down a little bit. And these up a bit more. And this over a bit. Yeah, and again, you're dealing with a drawing, so we have to make a bit of creative decision on our shapes, you know, because I can still see a bit of perspective there in the wheel hub. Okay, so I can't really round that out anymore because I don't have another edge loop there. So I think I can afford to put in another edge loop here. So I'm going to put one in around there. And it might work for my door as well. So it's just going there. And then using my vertex, pull that one down to get the shape a bit further. Now, I don't want to make it too knotty either. So see the way some of them are kind of cross, you know, they're kind of not as straight as I had them. So I'm going to try and keep them as best I can straight. So 3 and 1, 3 is smooth, 1 unsmooth. And again, around the other wheel hub, then I could probably afford to add another edge loop. About there. And start to shape that out a bit. And pull that one over. Don't really have a lot to work with there. Use this one. I could keep inserting edge loops, but I'm purposely not. I don't want to make it too, it would be called a heavy mesh as I add more and more. So you try and get your shape working with the least number of vertices and faces possible. And then you can always add them as you need them, but just don't add them until you really need them. For now that'll work. I know it's not perfect around the wheels, but we'll add more as we're going. And then the other part we're probably interested in here is the door. So I have these faces kind of to work with. 1, 2, 3, 4. I could probably do with adding another edge loop there so I can, yeah, so I'm going to take this edge loop, this one here that's near the window, and move it over a bit centered on the door. More centered to the door. Then I'm going to insert another edge loop kind of where the door line is. And that gives me, I'm going to push this one up so I can make that one down and that one up. And I'm going to have to probably add one down the bottom here. So yeah, insert edge loop down around here. So see the way now that is should be kind of tracking all the way around my the base of my truck. But the reason I want that is so I can access, oops, make sure I come out of that space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm after these faces. So I'm going to use my vertices and just shape them to the door. So I'm lining up my vertices with the actual drawing there of the door as best I can. Again, it's a bit more difficult here because I probably need another edge loop to carve that a bit. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to add another one down the bottom here just to get my shape going. So right there. And one more going up through the truck. So kind of from the edge of the wheel there. So I've added another one kind of going up here so I can shape. Be careful. Right, I'm actually going to move all this in a little bit and use the new one that I just put there as the edge of the door. I'll try and make all of this work. So my goal is to get the faces here around the door that I can kind of make a indication that we have a door here. So again, using your edit mesh, extrude and extrude inward. I could probably do it again. No, I think just extrude inward will do for now. Well, if I extrude inward and then do it again, and scale in a little bit and then do it again and pull it out a bit. You see what I'm trying to make a cutout shape around the door. Anyway, just even indent in once, I think should probably be enough. I can now kind of fix some of these shapes around the wheels too. If I can. And again, I'm going to have to add some more edge loops, but I'm trying to not add them yet. Okay, I'm going to do a save then. If you want to take your lunch, you can. Bit of a break. Get back and do a bit more. This is fiddly, you know, so don't worry if it's kind of frustrating. Just keep saving so you can go back to the one prior, because if you get yourself in a knot, it's always good to have the previous one to go back to. Okay, so I'm going to do save scene as, and I'm on 4. Okay, so we take a half-hour break and then we'll come back.